might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RDG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. No drama, race tough, keep it clean to the end might be enough. White flag, checker flies, out here with our friends living our best lives. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RDG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down. RTG rolling into your town. Smooth shifting, no lifting, we're not backing down. RTG, the best drivers around. Green flag, let's go. Come on boys, it's time to put on a show. Caution's out, oh no, to the back of the pack is where we go. Slide jobs, slide ways is how we like to spend most of our days. Bump draft, bumper hook, we knew going in that's the risk we took. Pedal to the metal, we've got the throttle down.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're right on the cusp of this epic battle that we have here at the top of the point standings, and you feel like you have a chance to make your mark in that championship battle still, and you're a road course aficionado, this is a perfect race for you. But it's got to be a really good race because there's not that much time in the season. As you said, only 4 races left to go. So if anybody loses any ground here, there's not going to be a whole lot of time to make it up.
Drivers, to your cars.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'm also paying attention though because there are drivers right behind Grant Wesley in the point standings. Jeremy Jeffries is only a few points back. So is Denny Carroll, Randy Wallace. So it's really going to be tight to see who comes down on top of this race. It's going to be fun.
Drivers, to your cars.
Drivers, start your engines!
Green flag. Definitely. And I mean, there's not the added pressure, I feel like, is kind of the term that comes to mind when you're thinking about a race that doesn't have any full yellow flags, any full course yellows. So you're going to want to try and race as hard as you possibly can. But again, mistake free is the name of the game. I think it's more important that you come away with a mistake free race rather than pushing yourself too hard trying to get as good of a finish as possible.
Hopefully now my microphone is working. There we go. That's what happens when Windows updates take place and the computer restart. Usually all the audio settings and the microphone settings reset themselves, so apologies for that there. I guess I'll just quickly give a recap of what I said here for anybody that needs the information. 39 laps of racing here tonight at Burlington Raceway, a 1.4 mile 10 corner road course. And we will have a competition caution coming out at the completion of lap 8. That'll be our only full course yellow. Apologies again there for the technical difficulties. Thanks to Grant for letting me know in our YouTube chat that my audio was not coming through. You got to hear the golden voice of Jack talk to nobody, apparently.
Talking to the voices in my head.
There you go. Ooh, near contact right out of the gate there between Wesley and Melson. These corners, they are tight. And I was watching a couple of these guys taking these corners, and it was almost like the suspension of the cars wanted to lift the tires up off the ground. The left side tire the left front wanted to come off the ground when they were making left-hand turns, and then vice versa. Right side tire wanted to come up off the ground when they were making a right-hander, just like this. You can see right there, the car's kind of yawing to the right.
Yeah, both drivers almost got loose in that corner. I mean, we go to a road course here instead of an oval, but I think the overall thing that we're used to seeing in these races in the Aero88 series is still very much the truth here, is that these drivers are battling the cars, or their own cars, or the racetrack more than each other. See Grant Wesley go to the race lead.
So he is going to get himself a valuable bonus point for a lap led as he gets by Jeff Supta. Supta slots into second. Dave Melson right now holding down the third position. Then a good battle behind him. Denny Carroll trying to hold off Randy Watt and Ron Hagel in three-man fight for the fourth position. You mentioned about Carroll and Watt. A couple of drivers that, you know, if Grant or Jeff run into a string of bad luck here in these final four races, could easily, with good finishes of their own, put themselves back into the conversation for the championship.
I mean, my brain is just going back to what Jeff Supta said after he won the last race. He was talking about how he wasn't celebrating gaining the points lead even further ahead of Grant Wesley, because he knows if he makes one mistake or has maybe two bad races in a row, he's going to let Grant Wesley right back into this thing.
Biggest mover so far since the beginning of the race would be Bob LaChance, as he's going to get around Terry Bombard. Actually, Terry going a little wide there, off into the grass. Going to get it going once again. LaChance started this race from 11th, and he just moved by Terry for the 7th position, so +4 for the driver of the number 51. So we move back up here to the top two, who've been able to build a gap. Last time by, scoring showed them about 3 to 3.5 seconds ahead of third place Dave Melson. So it's a mano-a-mano between these two right now. It's interesting, we were talking about a lot of these racetracks on the schedule, some we had never heard of. Burlington Raceway, one of those racetracks. This was actually a racetrack designed by the legendary Sinon.
There you go. Drivers having that, again, that almost getting loose issue in that corner there.
I mean, you could hear the tires squealing. Specifically those right rears as they were just slinging it around that right-hander.
Something else we were talking about too when it came to this track is that the laps are not very long. I mean, the best lap right now is a 52-second lap. That's not very long for a road course, and only 39 laps. So this might be, I definitely don't want to say it's going to be a sprint, but it's definitely going to be not necessarily an endurance race, especially when you factor in that there's not going to be any full course yellows.
Very rare that you end up having a road course where you end up setting a lap time under the minute mark. There are very few of them out there, and that not only is a testament to maybe just how small the racetrack is, but also the amount of speed that you can carry. I mean, we're seeing these, this might as well be drift car racing right now with what we're seeing out of these top two. And you kind of consider as well, with the fact that those lap times tick away. You know, you think about a Watkins Glen. I think at Watkins Glen, if I'm not mistaken, it's roughly, you're talking about a minute and 20 seconds to maybe a minute and a half it takes to turn a lap there. I think it's somewhere between a minute and 15 seconds at Sonoma. you only give about less than a minute a lap time at a road course. We talk about that sense of urgency. If you make a mistake to get those track position or those positions in the running order back, it doesn't give you a whole heck of a lot of time. It's pretty expedited. Must have had an issue with the 21 of Randy Wall. Yeah, he's all the way back here now in the 9th position, and he was up as high as 5th place. Again, no cautions come out for incidents here. We're going to have a competition yellow coming up in about the next lap and a half to 2 laps, but it looks like maybe the 21, I don't see any damage, so he may have just gotten off course, but you look at what surrounds this racetrack here. You've got some rumble strips maybe to be able to lean on, but then there's grass to the left, there's sand traps to the right as Terry Bombard off course there in the 10. There's no opportunity if you get off course really to be able to recover outside of bailing out of the throttle, just hoping that you keep the front end of the car pointed and get back onto the racing surface. And you see here as well, no safer barriers. There's concrete barriers here, there's tire barriers just off on the boundaries of the sand traps. You make contact with any one of these walls, you're going to have damage for the rest of the race.
I would say maybe you get one freebie when it comes to an incident, especially if you're able to keep the car off of those concrete walls. You get one freebie in the early going here because we're about to get the competition yellow. So if anybody has any kind of a problem here, this is kind of their one chance to really get back into the race. But after that, there's no caution, so it's basically anybody's game.
There was some smoke and skid marks there down against the inside wall off of turn 10. The wall. And they're catching up on Cy Jones in the 7. I believe the competition yellow would be out at this point. The race leader is going to come around. They're going to race back to pit road, but now pit road is going to be open. The race leader will come down pit road 30 miles per hour. Everybody else will come down pit road as well. They'll be able to all bunch up, and they will more than likely, I believe, then open pit road the following time around for our only full course yellow of the night. And for those wondering, no, there are no stage points that are given out to the winner when the competition yellow comes out. So Grant ending up being the leader here at this point in time does not gain any kind of points advantage over the 11.
But maybe a bit of a mental advantage.
Oh, yeah. 21's already on pit road here, pitting a lap early. Like the 7 of Cy Jones got lapped. Grant's in, going to take service himself here. Jeff Supta as well. So, yep, they're going to take service here. And then they will all line up and get ready to do it again, hoping to have everybody all lined up and good to go the next time by, as Grant will win the battle off of pit road, so he'll be the leader once we go back green.
I was going to say, I saw Grant Wesley very, very briefly scrape against one of the walls as we got onto that last lap before that competition yellow, but it looks like he's all good. I didn't see any visible damage in the car anyway, and it did not affect him on pit road, so should be all good there.
It was interesting. I talked with Supta before we came on the air, and he gave the number of about 12 laps that you can make it on a tank of fuel. With what we just saw there, the aggressive racing out of the 88 and the 11, I'm almost wondering if fuel is a non-factor right now. You may need tires before we get to that fuel number.
Yeah, everybody's really going all out, and I feel like maybe they're not thinking about fuel in the opening stage as well because they figure it's only 8 laps before the competition yellow, so it might as well just go all out now and then try to conserve fuel later on in the race. So we'll see what the mindset is here. We'll see if those drivers feel like they can keep running like that, or they maybe take it a little bit easier when they go back green just so that they can manage their fuel a lot better.
So when we go back green at the completion of lap 10, according to the numbers given, these drivers will have to come to pit road at least 2 more times. And if they stretch it as far as that fuel number that we've been given, we're talking about that final pit stop taking place around 5 laps to go. So you talk about a money stop at a road course, and this pit road, 50 miles per hour, actually, it's advertised as 50 miles per hour via the spotter or the crew chief. The INI actually says 52 miles per hour, so it gives them a little bit of a buffer just in case they go over the 50 mile per hour speed limit. But man, you'd hate to have a good road course race going and then throw it away with a black flag penalty, have to come back down pit road and serve, because more than likely, that final pit stop with 5 to go, you're more than likely not going to be anywhere close to the finish that you were in line to get.
It's the little things. It all comes down to those little tiny things that you think may not be that big of a deal. They all add up in the end.
So we're lined up single file, getting ready to go back green. I believe the 7 of Cy Jones is going to get the free pass. Saw him drop to the tail end of the field here as they hit the line, and Grant Wesley up through the gears. Going to get us back underway. Supta, Melson, Carroll, and Hagelin were the top 5. Shallow entry there by Supta. I tried looking, seeing if they had a track map to be able to follow, to be able to identify each one of these 10 corners. Was not able to find one, unfortunately. I believe this is a fictitious track as well, so if there was going to be a track map, it was going to be here in the sim, and unfortunately there was not one pictured. So the only corners I can absolutely tell you is after they cross the start-finish line, they're headed for turn 1, and before they come to the start-finish line, that's turn 10. That's the most information I can glean from that.
Yeah, we have to count, I guess.
Speaking of which, let's go on board with Jeff Supta as he tries to run down Grant Wesley. Listen to how much work they have to do inside of the race car with shifting here at Burlington. From the low gear of first all the way up to the high gear of fourth, that's a lot of work that they are putting in there.
Again, battling the car and the track more than each other here. Kind of reminds me of Formula One in a way. There's not really a whole lot of on-track passing, but you make a mistake, you know, open the door for somebody who's right behind you to fly by and take the lead.
Also love and or hate the creativity of Scion with this racetrack. Burlington Raceway, of course, geographically is listed in the state of Vermont. And you can see billboards around the racetrack featuring Ben & Jerry's as well as Cabot Cheese. Both those factories are in the state of Vermont. Had the opportunity to visit Cabot. I believe Ben & Jerry's was closed the day that we went to do the tour there. But the one thing I hate about billboards that advertise food, eventually about halfway through the race, I'm hungry.
I know that you're a guy that likes your ice cream.
I remember at the Cabot Cheese Factory, when we were done with the tour, you go to the gift shop and they have free samples. And it got to the point where my sister and I ate so many of the free samples, they were kind of like watching us like, are they going to leave? So we may have overstayed our welcome.
The free samples might not be free very soon.
Yeah, I know. Like, why, if they say free, then what's the problem?
Well, it's a good thing I have a bottle of Gatorade for refreshment while I'm watching Grant Wesley's car.
There you go.
Oh, he made a mistake
Oof.
going to that corner.
Yeah, it's the second time when we were on board with Supta earlier. He went wide in that corner and does so again. That's the slowest corner on the racetrack. Drivers going all the way down to first gear, and Grant's able to get the bite, to get the momentum off of the corner, but Supta's able to get to his inside every time. And I think for Wesley, you can only make that mistake so many times before eventually Supta's going to be able to pounce and take the lead back.
Yeah, if he keeps having that problem, Supta's going to recognize where the trouble spot is on the track, and he's going to take advantage of it.
Fall back and see third place on back here. Dave Melson started second. Currently holding down the third position. About maybe 8 to 10 car lengths back to Denny Carroll right now in fourth. And a good battle heating up for the fifth position. Ron Hagelin looks back and sees Bob LaChance. Actually, I believe we just had a change for that spot. LaChance might have had a moment coming off of turn 10, and Hagelin was able to get around him to move up into the top 5, moving LaChance back to 6th. Another good battle back here. This is 7th place under contest. Randy Wall looking back to Andre Charest. Been kind of a running theme here the last couple of weeks, with Randy having some difficulty in the early going of races, and then we get to the end of the race and he's up there fighting for a top 5 spot. That's why he's still up there mathematically in the conversation for this championship. 48 points in arrears, but with 4 races to go, still plenty of time to be able to mount a charge, and he's kind of been the comeback king here in the last couple of weeks.
He has. I mean, it's going to be a little bit tricky to document today whether or not he's going to have a mid-race issue that he needs to make a comeback from. But so far, looks like he's running well in 7th. And your point, only 48 points out of the points lead. So still in the conversation, but out of all these drivers that are in the top 5, he definitely still has the most work to do.
Looks like we've only got, and let me double check my information here, I believe we've only have 3 of the challenger drivers in the field here tonight, that being Bobby Farrell, Cy Jones, and Bob Dixon. Currently Farrell running the highest of those drivers in the 9th position. He will look here this evening if he's able to secure the victory to close up the 14-point gap between himself and Doug Cady, who currently leads the challenger point standings. Cady not in the field here tonight, so the Petty Blue 92 right now holding down a spot inside of the top 10. Right behind him, Terry Bombard. We saw Terry have a moment back prior to that competition yellow, but Monday night was a big night for him as he was in the playoffs for the Bare Bones Racing Series and took the checkered flag in the first playoff race to move on to the round of 8. So congratulations to Terry Bombard. Now he gets to kind of sit back, wait and see who his other 7 competitors are going to be in the next couple of weeks in the next round of the Bare Bones Racing Series playoffs. Traffic here for the leaders to have to deal with. It's down in this corner.
Jeez.
That major heavy braking zone corner there. Grant was able, that actually in a way kind of helped Grant because it helped him pin it down to the inside since he had to adhere to the traffic on his right.
That worked out a lot better for him because that held up the 11 car. Oh, Grant. Another tricky corner right there. You can see some of the car kind of lift up a little bit.
I don't know why, but when they take that corner, it reminds me back in the day. We've got Zach Rogers in our chat here shouting out Burlington. I know he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I ran a Stadium Super Truck series that Zach hosted, and those trucks, he built the setup in such a way the suspension had you literally drifting around the corners. Your front tires would lift up off the ground, and this is reminding me very much so of that kind of a setup. But we're talking about 1988 Aero88 cars here, stock cars that are doing it at a paved racetrack. Those were Stadium Super Trucks at dirt surfaced racetracks.
Kind of a wild comparison if you think about it.
Maybe some more traffic for these leaders to deal with up here. Terry Bombard in the 10. Bobby Farrell up ahead of him in the 92. We were just focused on those 2 drivers holding down the 9th and 10th positions. Bob Dixon's fallen a lap down. Cy Jones fell a 2nd lap down. Also need to bear in mind here. Whoa, is Grant running up on Terry there? Almost got into the back of him, but keep an eye on the top left of the screen, the laps that we have ticked away. We went back green at the completion of lap 10. We are approaching the completion of lap 21, so that would be 11 laps down here on this run, nearing that 12-lap mark. We were told that these drivers more than likely would have to make a dive onto pit road. gracious, the way they drift around that corner is insane.
It really is. I mean, I keep getting nervous that one of them is going to mess it up and spin out. And I feel like if you're a driver, that actually is something that you have to have a little bit of concern for. You don't want to overdo it and end up going into one of the concrete walls. Because as you said, if anybody ends up in the concrete walls, it's going to be a day ender. So
I don't know how likely it is, but I almost wonder if there's a scenario where you could end up turning the corner just a little too fast or just a little too hard, and you could end up having a random grip flip. As, oh, you saw some rear brake lockup there by Grant Wesley into that corner. And I feel like right now, if you're Jeff Supta, if you're going to make the pass in the 88, that is the area of the racetrack right there where you need to be better than him. Everywhere else, they seem to be pretty much on a level playing field. As,
my.
Supta almost was able to get to that right rear quarter panel. But it seems like everywhere else they're pretty equal. Down there in that corner, the 11 seems to be a little bit better under braking.
one thing that is in the back of my head too, as well, is that these drivers. Oh yeah, there they go. I was gonna bring up bring 5 pit stops, and as if on cue, it's like they heard me. Grant Wesley and Jeff Supta gonna bring it down pit road.
Top 2 going to pit. Let's see if anybody on the lead lap can go maybe a lap further. Try and maybe snipe a bonus point for a lap led. You saw Bobby Farrell, Terry Bombard. They still stayed out. They are going to get back on the tail end of the lead lap with making that pass. Looks like 3rd place, 4th place, Dave Melson and Denny Carroll have come to pit road. I believe Ron Hagelin, though, in the 111. He has stayed out, so he can go a lap further. Pretty sure everyone's pit stall is past the start-finish line. So even if Hagelin, who crossed the line here in 3rd, if he stays out, comes to pit road, he should cross the start-finish line, get the bonus point for the lap led before the 88 and the 11 come back around to pass him. Looks like Bob LaChance also stayed out. And there's the gap between the 88 and the 11, now out there with some 4 fresh field goods for the both of them. Oh no, Hagelin!
Oh boy.
That's in the final corner. Off and into the gravel, and that's going to, I think, more than likely take him out of the hunt for the bonus point. It might go to Bob LaChance. Let's see. Where's the 88? Where's the 11? Are they going to be able to snipe him? Oh, this is going to be really close. I think LaChance is barely going to get to the line.
I was going to say, that almost came right down to the wire, but ultimately they will get to the line first, and it looks like Grant Wesley, almost had a moment there in that corner.
Again, rear brake lockup there into the entry of the corner. Allows Supta to close up. He's closed up already about half the distance that was between the two of them when they left pit road. And still going to be one more pit stop that these drivers are going to have to make. Here's an interesting thought. You know, we're seeing them drifting, slipping, and sliding around this racetrack. One would certainly have to wonder, with a pit stop coming up, more than likely in the last 3 to 5 laps of this race, do you risk taking on tires, spending that time on pit road, or do you gamble and just go with fuel only?
I think that's a question, as Randy Waugh is stuck there. I'll get back to that in the moment.
I'm not certain, but I think I might have seen smoke coming out from underneath that car. Yeah, he blew an engine. And he's not the only one. Bob Dixon also has blown an engine in the last couple of laps.
The DNFs are going to interrupt my point that I was going to make, but that's a tough break for Randy Waugh, too, because we talked about him being inside that top 5 in the points, still inside the conversation for this championship, but that's going to be a huge setback to his championship hopes. I mean, going back to your point earlier, though, I'm honestly not certain whether you value fuel or tires more, because, you know, you would think fuel, but you see the way that these drivers are slipping and sliding around, like you said. I mean, I think it really just comes down to how each driver individually is going to feel about their race car. Do they feel like they might have what it takes? I don't think it's going to be a one-size-fits-all type deal.
Well, Dave Melson, 94 points out of the points lead. More than likely not going to be able to be in the championship hunt here with 4 races, including tonight, left on the schedule, but good run for him here this evening. Started well outside of the front row, still holding down a podium position. Had a great run last week as well, so kind of building off of that momentum. But currently finds himself about 18.5 seconds behind the race leaders as Bobby Farrell with a moment there. Gets it going again. And Supta got around Grant Wesley. Missed that pass for the race lead, but Supta now out in front, and Grant's going to majorly overdrive that corner. Able to keep it out of the kitty litter for the most part, but man, that's a lot of ground that he lost.
I did. I was going to say, too, if the 75 isn't a lap car, he just lost position.
75 is a lap machine.
Okay. Well, he got around him, no problem. I think Andre Charest let him by without too much hesitation there. So, yeah, to your point earlier, Jeff Supta is gone. Almost curious if he took advantage of that one spot in the track where Wesley kept making mistakes that we talked about earlier.
So now Supta going to enjoy, according to scoring, it looks like... Waiting for scoring to update here. I don't believe this is correct. It says 0.7 of a second. Looks like a little more than 0.7 of a second. Maybe it is 0.7 of a second here between the top two. And now with clean racetrack ahead of him, let's see what Supta can do and maybe trying to open up that interval. We saw how aggressive Wesley was when he was playing defense. Now we'll have to see how aggressive he is on offense as he tries to close the gap back up between himself and the 11. And how about this? Designer of this track, sign on in our YouTube chat. Pleased to see this track getting used. Says he'd like to add some details to it in the future. Great looking racetrack, obviously a fast racetrack here as well. Supta right now with the fastest lap of the race, 52.122. That is, for comparison folks, that is about 0.8 of a second faster than the lap time he put down for the pole position here tonight, equating to 98.846 miles per hour. That is an unheard of lap time at a road course.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And I mean, I'm going to shout out Sinon as well, the creator of the racetrack. I mean, this is a fantastic track that you've made here. I mean, I'm enjoying the fact that it's kind of, I said it earlier, not necessarily the sprint race, but a very quick and fast road course. You don't see it that often in ours, so this is really cool to see.
Right now, lap time advantage would go to Grant Wesley. He's running about a little less than 0.1 of a second faster than Supta each lap. He's going to have to deal getting around Cy Jones here in just a moment in one of the faster corners of the racetrack too. The right-hander into the left-hander that they love to drift around as he'll dive it in deep here on the Sunoco machine and complete the pass.
I mean, there are even more pit strategy questions that come to mind as well, because now with Jeff having such a big lead over Grant, do you think maybe Grant tries for an undercut on pit road?
It's a good question. The big prop for me, so, okay, unfortunately I'm going to have to do some math here, and I hate math. So if we go 12 laps on 2 tanks of fuel, then we're talking about on 1 tank of fuel you can go 6 laps, on half a tank you can go 3 laps. So right now, my calculations are showing that these drivers are going to have to come to pit road with 4 laps to go. If you cannot take on a half can of fuel for that 3 laps, if you feel that's not enough and you have to take on a half can of fuel, or I'm sorry, a full can of fuel, I feel like you can then go for right side tires. For Grant, I don't think you can pit any sooner than that, because if you pit any sooner than that, you're forced to spend the extra time on pit road taking on a can and a half of fuel. And I don't think that that kind of an undercut is going to gain you the time that you would lose in the amount of time spent in your pit stall. Denny Carroll coming to pit road here.
It's certainly just an interesting conversation at the very least, because you see the separation between the two drivers. And so where my brain was going is you have two drivers that are more distance from one another. So maybe they try some varying strategies on pit road, and maybe Grant could use that to his advantage to try to reel in Jeff for the race lead.
We'll have to see if there's any type of strategy the 88 will play here. Looks like Denny Carroll may actually be a driver playing the strategy here. Obviously, we're within the window to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel, and he's made the dive onto pit road for his final stop. He had just gotten put a lap down in the 6th position. We'll see if this gains him any spots, maybe trying to get himself a finish up inside of the top 5 by the time the checkered flag waves. Sinon says he made this track for CTS Physics, and that's exactly what these drivers are running here tonight. There's going to be some traffic to deal with here for Jeff Supta. And just up ahead of him is the 51 of Bob LaChance, who is holding down the 5th position. We are about to have only 4 drivers on the lead lap.
Supta again with that drift into that corner. I mean, it's fun to watch, but it's also a little nerve-wracking, probably, especially if you're Supta, because you know one mistake in that corner could undo your whole race.
And when we were on board with him, we saw the amount of shifting that takes place in just the span of one lap by itself. Now, I occasionally run with a wheel. I'm mostly by trade a keyboard racer, but a lot of drivers will talk to me about the force feedback when racing with a wheel. I can only imagine when you're doing that drift around the left-hander and then the wheel snaps back to the right. I can only imagine how your muscles are going to be aching after this race is done, depending on how much force feedback you've got.
I hate the idea of force feedback. I mean, it's realistic, yes, but it's also a little bit terrifying knowing that that wheel could snap on you at any given moment.
Now 3 drivers on the lead lap. Ron Hagelin with a moment there, off and into the gravel. Currently in the 4th position. That's going to bring Bob LaChance into his zip code, as that'll be a fight for P4 between those 2 drivers. And Supta is on pit lane. So this is interesting. Pitting with 5 laps to go. So he is absolutely going to have to take on a can of fuel. Let's see if he goes for right sides or if it's a fuel-only stop. Or maybe left sides. I mean, I'm not sure which tire is getting worn out the most here at this particular track.
And they're going back and forth all over different parts of it, so we'll see how he feels. Goes, at the very least, right sides.
Do they go around to the left, or do they send him? He's down and away. Wesley's going to stay out an extra lap here. But that just shows you the amount of time that he lost. I don't think he's even going to pass the 11 before the 11's finished his pit stop. Yeah, that's a lot of time that Grant lost. Let me just double check. Grant might have actually been on pit road already. Oh, he was. So Grant did preempt him. He was on pit road the lap prior.
So he did try to go for some sort of an undercut, but I'm not necessarily sure how much he gained, if any, on Supta.
Lap times are going to be important here in these final 4 laps. Oh, man,
Oh,
big
boy.
hop on that curb.
Kept it going, though.
But I guarantee you he had to let out of the throttle there, and that's going to cost him valuable time. It's going to hurt this lap time, which I believe was going to be his first official out lap. And it's going to score it at a 52.5. He needed to be in the 52.1s, 52.2s, I think, right there. That's about 0.3 that he lost with just that one little mistake.
Again, with the little things adding up. I mean, there's still a little bit of a ways to go. I don't totally want to write him off of it, especially if Supta has to deal with lap traffic, but that little mistake might have really... honestly, there's a realistic chance that could have been the move that decides this thing.
So 2 things that will play to the benefit of Grant Wesley. First, he's going to get the bonus point for most laps led. Even if he led from here to the end, Supta could not accumulate enough laps to be able to steal that bonus point away. Second, if Wesley's able to hold on to that 2nd position, he will only lose 1 position of ground to Jeff Supta. The one problem, though, is that Jeff Supta is going to get 5 valuable bonus points for winning this race, which will allow him to open up the gap just a little bit more. That gap was 17 points coming in tonight, we'd be looking somewhere in around the 20 or so points region heading into next week's race at Texas World.
Now Grant Wesley having to deal with Denny Carroll, some more lap traffic in the way, gonna slow him down. I mean, I really think unless Supta makes a mistake here in these final few laps, this is kind of in the bag. Wesley can't even get by Denny Carroll right now.
To your point, if Supta can just keep all 4 tires on the racing surface, this is pretty much all she wrote, as he'll hit the line for 2 laps to go. I mean, the speed seemed pretty equal between the two, but when you look at the mistakes made, there's a 0 in the column for Jeff Supta. There's a few for Grant Wesley, and you mentioned it, the execution all race long. The little things were going to be the important thing, as Dave Melson was around facing the wrong direction there. P5, and I believe he's not going to lose any spots with that spin. Able to keep it going here, and Jeff Supta now going to come around through the hairpin of turn 10, and he's going to see the flag he's been looking for maybe about the last 10 laps or so. White flag displayed, 1 lap to go. We talked about the run that Grant Wesley was on, victory after victory after victory for 4 straight weeks. He almost swept the entire month of October. For Supta, if he comes around and takes the checkered flag, it'll be his 4th win of the season, but 3rd in a row. So now all of a sudden, he's been on a momentum run.
I mentioned how it feels almost like F1 earlier. This is a little bit of a Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen battle like in 2021. These two
really
are
is. Question
in
is,
a
who is
war
who?
right now. I don't know. I guess this car looks the most like a Red Bull than anything else.
Last couple of left-handers here for Jeff Supta. Final road course of the season, and it's going to go to driver number 11 as off the final turn, Jeff Supta is going to go from pole to win. He will pick up the checkered flag here tonight at Burlington Raceway, his 3rd straight victory and 4th of season 66. Grant Wesley, looks like about 14 seconds back, is going to cross the line in 2nd place, and he will be the only other driver that will finish on the same lap as the race winner Jeff Supta. 3rd place on down, going to finish at least 1 lap down here this evening, but Ron Hagelin is going to snipe the final podium position.
I think after we're done watching this burnout here from Supta, I feel like we need to go back because I don't think we actually saw live the moment where he took the lead away from Grant Wesley. But either way, a heck of a drive from Supta. We talked about it earlier. No mistakes. I mean, that's exactly the kind of race you want to have if you're the points leader. Now you're kind of opening up that gap a little bit more as you get closer and closer to this championship. Only 3 races left to go now after this one.
We will definitely be looking back at the race-changing moments. The exchange for the race lead that ultimately put Jeff Supta out in front and was able to maintain it for the remainder of the race. So bring it down here to the start-finish line and get ready for his celebration. 3rd straight victory, 4th on the season. And the celebration begins here at Burlington Raceway. Looks like Bobby Farrell is indeed going to get the Challenger win as he'll finish out the night in the 9th position. That looked like just a simple burnout there for Supta, and they'll be headed to victory lane. Let's see if we can jump back and find that moment when he ended up taking the race lead away from Grant Wesley. We were focused on looking through the field after a cycle of pit stops. Looks like it was back on lap 25 where we end up having this pass for the race win, and I'm going to wager maybe down in that heavy braking zone left-hander.
I think so. I mean, that's where it seemed as if Wesley was having the most problems. Not quite.
Nope, not there.
Looked like he pulled away actually a little bit.
Up over the curbing, has about 2 car lengths in hand here.
Or was it this corner where we felt like they were drifting? Not quite.
Maybe down here in this double left. Oh, right there. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Locked
yeah.
him up. Hopped up over the curb. And after that, Wesley had to go from defense to offense and could not reel Jeff Supta back in. Jeff would lead the remainder of the race and go on to pick up the victory.
If memory serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure that Wesley had another problem earlier in the race at that part of the track there as well. So another mistake in that part of the racetrack that really undid his day. I mean, he still finished second. That'll be good, but still.
Just kind of seemed like a couple times down in that first braking zone area that we were expecting, that was where the lead change was, and then over there as well, you could see that the rear tires would lock up just a little late heading into that corner. So maybe just trying to be a little more aggressive going into those braking zones, or maybe missing his braking mark. But those little mistakes, the little wheel hop, costing Grant. He'll finish second to Supta tonight, with Hagelin finishing in third. And we'll be talking with those podium finishers here in just a moment. Dave Melson going to bring it home top 5 in 4th. Denny Carroll going to finish in 5th place. So we saw him play a little bit of an alternative strategy on that final pit stop. Nets him a top 5. Bob LaChance will finish in 6th. Terry Bombard 7th. Andre Charest 8th. Bobby Farrell 9th. And Cy Jones was the last driver to finish in the 10th position. Saw a lot of shifting, upshifting, downshifting during the course of these laps. Definitely a lot of wear and tear on these engines, and 2 drivers, mechanical failures, saw them not reach the end of this race. Randy Waugh will finish in 11th, Bob Dixon in 12th. One will certainly have to wonder. Randy came in maybe the furthest out mathematically, still in the hunt for the championship. Does this DNF here, maybe with only 3 races left, does this mathematically eliminate him now from the title?
Not totally sure. We're going to have to wait for these points to update. But like I already mentioned too, with him having that problem, just barely being the last driver inside the top 5, he still has a lot of work to do. And this DNF is certainly not going to help any matters.
Be interesting to see what the point standings look like at the conclusion of this one. Maybe a little bit more of a cushion built by Supta with the victory, with Grant finishing in 2nd place. Those valuable 5 bonus points for the race win going to be invaluable for driver number 11. But let's see if we can dial up another driver that has a lot of 1s in his number. He's the triple 1 that brings it home in 3rd place tonight. Let's dial up Ron Hagelin.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Ron, it's the guys up here in the FRN booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Man, I'll tell you what. Racetrack looked like it was really fun to drive. For me, fun to observe. I think I probably would have visited every wall around this racetrack, but man, you guys were wheeling it out there. We end up seeing drifting around the corners. We normally don't see that at a road course. Obviously, the track's somewhat narrow, very little room for mistake. You bring it home solidly here in the 3rd position here tonight. First off, talk to me about the experience of this racetrack, because coming into tonight, kind of flying totally blind we were. Never had heard of this racetrack before. Didn't know what kind of a racetrack it was going to be in terms of the racing we would see. How much experience did you have of this racetrack, or was this a complete anomaly to you as well when you guys took the green?
I did have a few laps. We tested this in the beginning of the season to see how it would work out. So I had a couple laps on it, but I had all but forgotten it till tonight.
Something that we ended up talking about as well was, obviously, it looked like maybe this evening, just as much importance preserving the tires as much as keeping an eye on when to make those pit stops for fuel. We saw you go with a little bit of an alternative strategy there. You ended up staying out a little bit longer than the top 2. It ultimately netted you a podium finish. Talk to me about strategizing at this racetrack. Just how much wiggle room is there to try and do something unorthodox in terms of strategy?
Very little. I mean, that wasn't even part of my plan. My whole plan tonight was survival.
Yeah, we mentioned that it seemed like at this particular track, very little room for mistakes, any off track, and if you didn't have the gravel pit to save you, there was going to be some pretty heavy impact. You were in a couple of really good battles during the course of the evening as well, up inside of the top 5. Obviously, it looked like there were a couple of spots here where it was a pretty good area to set up the driver that you were trying to pass. Also looked like there was some interesting areas to place some defense. How easy or difficult was it to kind of balance offense, defense in these different portions of the racetrack?
It was literally just don't jump the turns. As long as you could do that, you could worry about getting to the people ahead of you. But I mean, one bad turn and there's literally nothing you could do if someone was behind you. They had you.
Well, it certainly looked like this was one of those races where if you went mistake-free, you were going to come home with a good finish, and you net a podium finish here tonight, P3 at Burlington Raceway. Congratulations on a great run, as you said, surviving this road course here tonight. And before we let you go, Ron, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Just got to thank Rolling Thunder and FRN for you guys broadcasting these. And I have not had the best luck this season, but I'm still loving it.
Ron Hagelin, third place here tonight, still having fun, and he's going to net a podium finish here tonight at the road course. Congratulations on a great performance, and best of luck here in these final 3 races of the season.
Thank you, sir.
Let's see if we can now get a hold of the driver that brings it home in the second position here tonight. Led a race high 23 laps. Style up Grant Wesley.
User was moved to
Hey,
your
Grant, the
channel.
guy's up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, I'll tell you what. You guys, I'm gonna say you guys were brave, because watching you guys out there tonight, front tires off the ground, drifting around corners. I mean, that's not normally something we see at a road course, and you guys were doing it every single lap. Obviously, I would assume it was fun, but just like on the scale of fun to terrifying, where were you at during the course of this race?
Oh man, that is definitely one of my favorite things about this game. You get on a road course that's gripped up, and it packs the front tires. I mean, yeah, it definitely adds a fun factor to it. I used to not really be a road course driver for the first few years when I joined the sim, and here lately, I've been doing a lot of road course racing on the iRacing side, and it's definitely improved the NR side as well. I've been able to at least keep up with guys like Jeff Supta and Sean Prime and Brian Chilling, some of the other guys that are just aces here. This was a new track. I've never been in this track. It only had a few corners, so there wasn't a whole lot to learn. But yeah, man, it was fun. It's gripped up. You had to really be on the wheel to make a fast lap around here. I mean, the braking zones were difficult. Whenever you drove it in there, I was locking them up. That was the biggest battle, is to keep from locking them up and overdriving the corner, which ultimately is what cost me the race there, as I overdrove a few corners. But yeah, fun track.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention that. We saw that seemed to be your Achilles heel. We saw a lot of rear lockup a couple of times in a couple of those hairpin corners that ended up keeping the pressure on you, courtesy of the 11, and then ultimately lost you the race lead. Was there any major contributing factor to that? You mentioned the track was gripped up. Did that maybe have you carry more speed into the corners there? How much did tire wear come into play? Was there something you could kind of go back and look at that was a main chief contributor to the lockups?
My left foot, or my right foot, I should say. Yeah, it's just I needed more laps here, I think, to really learn the braking zones. It's a key component with road racing, and I just didn't have enough laps around this place. Jeff, once I got around him, I took advantage of him early in the race, and I maintained that track position out front. He kept the pressure on me, and I mean, that's what it took. It just kept me looking in that mirror, and eventually, I just missed my marks.
I mean, obviously, the bad news, you come up just short of getting your 5th victory, and Supta is going to open up a little bit of a gap between the two of you from coming into tonight to leaving tonight. But On the plus side, you're still within striking distance, still got 3 races to go. Texas World, SMP Night, and Walt Disney World Speedway to close out the season. Is the confidence level still there that you're going to be able to have a good run the close of this season, still be able to get that championship once we end up taking the checkers at Walt Disney?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's Jeff's championship to pretty much lose here. But we are in striking distance. We will not give up. We got some great tracks coming up. I'm very optimistic about them. So yeah, I'm gonna give it my all. If I'm gonna keep the pressure on Jeff, just like he keeps it on me. Just hopefully he doesn't slip up there.
Well, Grant, congratulations on the great run here tonight. Second place, momentum train continues for you as you continue to rack up solid finishes down the home stretch, trying to close up for that championship now with 3 races to go. Also, on a personal note, thank you for chiming in the chat, letting me know that the sound was out. Computer restarts apparently don't like to read my headset, so appreciate giving me the heads up there on that. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Yeah, I've got a little stand here next to my monitor that holds my phone, so I always have the broadcast tuned in, and I always check on you guys pre race. It's kind of cool to hear the commentary, and so yeah, no problem on that. I want to thank Sean Prime, and we all still miss David Cannon. Definitely a big hole here at RTG. He won't be forgotten. I'd like to thank the admins here, Jeff and Ron. They're doing an excellent job with the Wednesday nights. The fields are a little bit smaller, but it's high quality and pretty good racing here. I'd like to thank FRN. Thank you guys for taking time out for us. It's definitely appreciated. Thank my teammates with XFM, my friends and family for watching, and my girlfriend Brittany.
That's Grant Wesley, second place here tonight at Burlington Raceway, and looks to carry this momentum into Texas World next Wednesday night. Congratulations on the great run here this evening, and best of luck next week.
Yeah, and congratulations, of course, to Jeff on the win.
Yes, indeed, and we are now going to be going down to Victory Lane and
User
dialing
was
up
moved out of your
said
channel.
winner, his 4th win on the season, now tying him with Grant Wesley for most wins on the season. Let's get a hold of the pole sitter race winner here from Burlington.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Jeff, it's the guys up here in the FRM booth. Got a copy?
I do.
Well, man, it kind of looked like here tonight there were a lot of unknowns. Never had heard of this racetrack before. Only notes I really had was just kind of seeing what you guys did in practice and then, of course, in the opening laps of this race. But it seemed like the 3 things at the top of the list were speed, patience, execution. You were able to do all 3 here tonight. But this seemed like a very difficult racetrack in many different regards. Not only did we end up seeing some very, very tight corners, maybe a little bit of tight areas in passing some slower machines, the drifting around the corners was an interesting factor as well. And we went on board with you and saw just how much work you had to do inside of the car shifting around this tiny little road course. The first question I got for you is, how exhausted are you? How much of a workout was that race?
It's funny you say that. Right after I was done, I told everyone, I'm like, I am so tired and exhausted right now. Your adrenaline's pumping, and when you're done, you're still just going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely looked like you guys were giving yourselves a workout here, and as you say, no let up with only having that one competition caution and then green flag the rest of the way. It kind of looked like you were exercising patience in the early going there, keeping the 88 honest, and just staying on his bumper, keeping the pressure on him. As soon as you got around him, kind of almost seemed like you turned the burners on and were able to open up the gap there.
Yeah, I tried. I think he got me on lap 2. I ended up going wide and hitting grass and screwing up. So all it takes is just one little mess up, and he was right there. And yeah, I mean, this is his first night on this track. I think he only ran maybe 20 laps in practice, and he hit the top of the speed charts in practice. And yeah, he was fast, and I just was trying to stay with him and be patient, hopefully beat him on pit stops. That was my whole thought process behind him.
Well, we documented at the beginning of the night the gap interval closing up between yourself and him. 17 points coming into tonight, 4 races remaining. Now going into next week with 3 races to go, you obviously, with the 5 extra bonus points, going to be able to build a little bit more of a gap between yourself and Grant. When we talked with you last week after your victory at Spartan, you said, man, I still don't feel safe. Is that sense still there as we now head for Texas World?
Oh, I mean, yeah, there's still 3 races left. That's a gain of he could gain. I'm not quite sure, anywhere between 50 to 60 points. So, yeah, it's not over. Probably not going to be over to the last race. Yeah, Texas is next week. Then we have the Southern National Motorsports Park, was a short track, and then Walt Disney.
Looking forward to those 3 really, really cool racetracks. I only know really of 2 of them. The one in between there, that Motorsports Park is going to be an interesting one, that short track race. But Jeff, congratulations. First off, a tremendous streak here. 3 victories in a row, 4 victories on the season, and some tremendous momentum heading into this final trio of races down the home stretch of the season. Before we let you get to your celebrating down there in Victory Lane, though, floor is yours for thank you, sponsors, and shoutouts.
Thanks to RTG and all our admins. Thanks to the racers who come out and make it fun. I know not everybody's a road course fan, so not a big field tonight, but hopefully the rest of the season we see a little bit better turnout. Thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. I can't wait to watch it when we're done racing. Yeah, that's it.
Well, we had the track creator Sign On chime in our YouTube chat. Really excited that you guys were using one of his creations here tonight. Congratulations, Jeff. Pole to win here tonight for your 4th win on the season. And best of luck as you look to keep this momentum going next week at Texas World.
Thanks, and that's very cool to hear about the creator coming in. That's a nice treat.
As Jeff Supta, he's a 3-in-a-row race winner now. 4 wins on the season as he takes the victory here tonight at the road course of Burlington Raceway, the final road course stop on the season. And now we kind of get into some interesting territory here, Jack, because Texas World next week is a borderline super speedway. So you talk about an X factor here towards the end of the season. As we just heard, we're going to be going to SNMP, nighttime conditions, short track racing. Talk about another X factor near the end of the season. Then Walt Disney World Speedway, obviously a racetrack that is no longer, but brought about some really good speedway racing back in its day. 3 very interesting racetracks that very easily, before we even put a tire on the pavement, you could make a case for very much so playing a part into this championship outcome.
Absolutely. And you heard Jeff say it. He's still not comfortable. He knows that there's still plenty of time. I mean, it's only 3 races, but, if he has 2 of those 3 races go wrong, just like that, Grant Russell is right there waiting to snipe away that championship lead. So still anything can happen here. All this variety of racetracks. I mean, this is shaping up to be a really fun end of the season here.
Yeah, you talk about the variety of racetracks. A lot of these racetracks that when we ended up coming on here to cover the second half of the season, we had never heard of before, and we've seen some really, really good racing. I mean, you go back to what we saw, that thrilling finish back at Spartan Speedway last week, the incredible road course race we had here tonight at Burlington Raceway, tracks that are getting showcased that maybe nobody knew existed, or if they knew they existed, it may have kind of fallen back into the chasms of forgetting that the racetrack was there, and then all of a sudden, triggers the memory, that racetrack was a thing. You gotta wonder if maybe now here tonight with the racing that people saw at Burlington Raceway, if we may end up seeing that appear on other people's schedules as well. But definitely a great showcase for that racetrack here tonight. And I'll be honest, I mentioned the word terrifying. I was up here in the booth. I wasn't down there on the racetrack, and the way that these drivers, the amount of speed they were able to carry around corners at a road course, you normally aren't able to do that. So I was kind of worried for the drivers here tonight with what we saw, but definitely a really cool showcase.
Yeah, definitely. I give them mad props. I mean, and like we've talked about, it's not very often you see a road course where drivers are putting down lap times of less than a minute. So these guys were flying around the racetrack tonight. They were making about all the right adjustments they possibly could have. So a great showing by everybody here. And who knows, maybe we'll see some more of this track here in the future.
Absolutely. Well, we thank everybody for tuning into our coverage here tonight. The 66th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Aero88 series is drawing to a close. Only 3 races remain until we crown ourselves a champion. Jeff Supta continues to lead the point stands as he gets his 4th win on the season, his 3rd win in a row here tonight at the road course of Burlington Raceway. Next time we see you guys, it's tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we, along with Tarnation TV, will be simulcast broadcasting the second race of the playoffs for the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. On Saturday night, we are winding down the regular season for Season 6 of the Talladega Nights Shake and Bake Series, and then we're going to be joining ASR Super Speedway Series on Sunday night, as they will be having their first official points race to kick off Season 4 of their Super Speedway Series. So be sure to join us for all those broadcasts coming up here this week. Our congratulations once again to Jeff Supta on his victory here tonight. And for Jack Mitchell, I'm Seth Cole. We thank you for spending your Wednesday night with us as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.